Hello, Reddit user. I believe this is Viper711, and this isn't the first time I've casted any of your replays, but I'd just like to go ahead and take the moment and say we're just going to do a little review of how you played. And without further ado, let's get started. This is Breaker, and I'm going to try and bring this better to you with a face-to-face experience. Or something that at least feels like a face-to-face experience. Now, this is the only part you're going to have to deal with me as a caster. I do like to go into a bit of my, I guess you'd say my blog life whenever I'm casting. But I'll get to that in just a minute as we do have an introduction to give to both players. Lower left-hand corner, spawning as our red Terran, ViperXk, I believe our uploader to cast it. Upper right-hand corner, our blue Terran, as unsuspecting victim, Kefir. Now, I guess we got some macro time to fill in. A little bit about myself. As you guys all know, I'm the guy who focuses on the China scene. Just rushed to late game you win too. Lol, that's funny. Went ahead and turned the chat off. Didn't want to get too distracted by it, but I have now been approved to go to Korea next semester. You could say I've done this for multiple reasons, but I would say the most prevalent reason is because I love anything that has to do with Asia and involves free dormitories. I guess I could just run down the list like this. I do speak a little bit of Korean. I studied it for a year at a different university. I've been to 6 different universities since I started. That includes most of those universities. Actually, half of those universities were abroad, and the other half were here in America. And thus far, it seems that we have the signal of an ordinary game coming into play. That would be the barracks going into defensive positions. So more macro time, more blog time, if you will. I've been to 1 university in China, 1 university in Taiwan, and 3 universities in the state of Oklahoma. My family's been moving around since I was 19, and so basically that's why I ended up transferring around so much. The next reason why I'm going to Korea is because, well, I guess you could say I'm just kind of an Asia fanatic, if you will. The only country I really couldn't see myself staying in long term would have to be probably Japan and Korea. I wouldn't mind, you know, I'm just a little bit curious about Korea, really. I mean, especially given the fact that StarCraft is so big there. It's the only thing I've really got out for it, if you will. Alright, and it looks like we unfortunately had ViperXk lose an SCV there. Despite what you guys may be thinking, I will not be going to GSL events regularly. I am actually just, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just, maybe I'll go to 1 or 2. Maybe the WCS finals of all things, you know, that would be great. Extend my social network. Unfortunately, most of my contacts in esports are involved with the Taiwan and China region. But I never actually thought about extending my contacts to Western events, I guess you could say, until just now when I brought it up to myself in this video. Like, it was just thinking out loud, and I'm just like, wait a minute, that's right. Oh yeah, I could make more contacts over there. I mean, the whole reason I got into the Asia StarCraft League and got my reputation established on that, it's the first gig that I'm being paid to do, by the way, is because I went to a couple of Barcraft events in Taiwan where I met tournament admins, and so on and so forth, but yeah. So it looks like we're going to have Viper holding his ground against this Reaper and Marine coming forward. Yeah. Kefir has been deterred for the time being. More blog time, I guess. I couldn't really see myself staying in Japan for too long because, of course, I've studied Japanese history. I know a little bit about Japanese culture, and it's just not my cup of tea. Taiwan is a little bit more westernized. All I have to do is stay there for 5 years, and I could get a green card to stay there for the rest of my life, so yeah. Now we're going to have Kefir swing back around for another assault on the natural. But of course, more Marines here to thwart that attack from Kefir. And that looks like that Reaper's not going to be getting in anytime soon, so excellent hold by Viper. He's actually followed this up with a double gas. He could go directly into multiple barracks, but it looks like he's going to go with at least a barracks and a factory, to say the very least. Reaper's coming back around here. Alright, and it looks like this is just going to be a triple orbital command opener for our Kefir. He's kind of going a little bit late on that reactor on his barracks. He's gonna get this barracks landed and then build a starport right next to it. So I'm thinking he's gonna build a tech lab, perhaps. Wouldn't be surprised to just see. I mean, there's a reason why the barracks is right next to the starport, unless it's perhaps just a muscular reflex by Kefir. Okay, so blog segment, since we're gonna have a lot of macro time and a little bit of harass time in between. Today I got done casting IG Gym. So, yeah, that was good. That was in the Russia StarCraft League, and as long as we're on the topic of Chinese players, another thing that I think would be good about me going to Korea is because I've got contacts with the Neo TV Star League as well as the WCG, and I'm thinking maybe it would be possible for me to go to the WCG or the Neo TV Star League in person to cast for, at the very least, the finals or the semifinals. Or the last 2 days of the event, but going there for the entire event will be close to impossible unless it's all jam-packed into a weekend, which I don't think would happen. I mean, usually what happens is these guys try to capitalize on getting mass viewership, and speaking mass, these Hellions trying to line each other up and get some good shots. Viper's got some pretty okay micro there, but it just didn't cut it there. He lost a few Hellions, but Kefir is actually behind in overall supply, overall food count. We just checked that out. Again, not making too much of a difference right now, but in the context of a mirror match, it will make all the difference later. The reason why we see him so stubbed on army count right now is because he's going for 2 Hellbats and he's got medevac somewhere. And it looks like we're actually going to have ViperXk kind of skipping out on that idea. He's going to go straight into bio, it looks like. He does have Hellions. I guess those are for map control, vision. Killing off anything that may try to come across the map and scout him. And this is something very clever, well, no, I wouldn't say clever, but something very standard that a lot of players don't do, a lot of Terran players don't do. That is repairing the Hellions. It's such a simple thing to do. It really is. And now we're going to have 3 Hellions going up against these 3 Hellions that have a nice concave. These Hellions get microed back and they catch it looks like a Hellbat drop moving out. And the Hellbat catches one of them. But now they're in the mineral line, and it looks like, ooh, they got a couple of SCVs before they were shut down. But we also have another medevac drop coming back over here to avenge the 3 SCVs that have fallen since the start of the game. Alright, so the question is ViperXk going to be able to hold against this? I mean, like, well, of course he's going to be able to hold against this, but will he be able to prevent a lot of kills? Oh, the SCVs don't get pulled. He's actually going to lose a lot here. He's pulling the SCVs in the wrong direction. That actually gives the Hellbats a few more kills. And it looks like Kefir was stopped at about 6 kills, and now we actually see, oh man, this is not going to be pretty for ViperXk, excuse me. He's going to have to basically hold off a double-pronged drop. If he's lucky, maybe the missile turret will get 1 or 2 of those Hellbats to keep from dropping. And he's going to go for the drop here first with this medevac drop, but it looks like no, we actually see some sloppy reflexes from Kefir. Widowmine goes off, killing 1 Hellbat, or not killing 1 Hellbat, but taking it down to 0 HP. This Widowmine not quite in defensive position just yet. And now the SCVs are all pulled off the line and being put back where they belong. The main mineral line, and this 1 Hellbat's still alive, being annoying. Oh my god! Oh my god! No, 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 no! Viper, be careful with those. They are not easy to replace in the context of a mirror match. But be it as it may, ViperXk is actually still pretty far ahead on worker count. If you want to look at it that way, I mean, he didn't even harass anything behind this. I'm absolutely dumbfounded as to why this happened. How am I looking at this right? Yeah, Kefir's got 13 worker kills. Ah, that explains it. Okay, well, we need more mules. There we go. Checking the income right now. It actually seems that ViperXk is still significantly ahead, but Kefir may be in a spot to, catch up if he, ouch. Wait, that Widowmine just shut down the medevac drop, but wait a minute, the Hellbats. The Hellbats weren't stopped, but they did get stopped just as they were entering the mineral line. They got 1 wave of damage off, and that's it. I'm thinking this is a bit of a misclick by ViperXk, excuse me. Another Hellbat drop going off, and it looks like it's going to be geared towards the main. Again, I'd just like to highlight the positioning of this Widowmine right here. I actually thought it was going to be right here like it was last time, or so I thought it was. Anywho, this Widowmine plus this missile turret 2 shots from missile turret max will kill this this Hellbat, or excuse me, this Hellbat drop. Whether or not the Hellbats get out, though, is a completely different matter. And right now, if we actually look at what's been lost so far, this is actually far more valuable for Kefir than it is for ViperXk. And Kefir actually gets into that undetected because it looks like ViperXk was not watching his minimap. Supply depot is going down in the main. More and more barracks being added on. Stimpack going down, and you know, Hellbat's trying to get what kills they can. That brings it to 21 altogether. I'm thinking maybe ViperXk is thinking perhaps, just perhaps, he's behind, but actually he's really far ahead. Especially given the fact that he's already taken his 3rd. Main is floating a lot of energy for Kefir. Checking the production tab right now. It's going to be, you know, Kefir's just decisively going with mech bio, if you will. And by mech bio, I mean we've got Hellbats here. We've got tanks here. We've got, you know, but typically, 9 times out of 10, when we see bio go up against mech, I want to say that, you know, bio doesn't really prevail. I mean, Hellbats, they're just too strong, just a little bit. I mean, and the DPS of Marines, it's not really that high. It's like you're actually shooting Optimus Prime or something like that. Kind of reminds me of those little fights from Transformers, really, where you got all those little Marines going up against the Decepticon Scorpion thingamajig, or these huge, massive giants. They're just firing so many shots at them, but they can't really take them down. And they're like 5 times their size. Here we go, big engagement here. And we only have 1 tank for Viper, but Kefir's got 4 tanks and a bunch of Hellbats to boot. I do want to say that, you know, ViperXk, he's really far ahead in terms of income. If he can get another base going, he'll be even further ahead. But right now, Kefir is kind of putting this one down, and it looks like we actually have Viper gearing up for just the right time to go in and destroy his opponent's 3rd. I'm still curious as to how he knew about that, really. Beautiful timing. Stims up, and he's A-moving onto it. I'm thinking all these Hellbats should be able to come in and save it, but it's looking like all of this bio has just been sacrificed as the help. Excuse me, those medevacs will not be able to get away. But the tank down here on the low ground, those last Marines just gave away the only vision they're going to get. And now we actually see ViperXk's entire army, save for this handful of Marines, getting saved, or getting obliterated. He tries to make a drop happen in the main. That gets shut down too by a huge wall of missile turrets. Sensor tower gets taken down. Missile turrets are going to get taken down, but altogether I think economic damage is going to be quite minimal. Factory not really, again, in a position to be really damaged, but this is something big. The orbital command is actually burning. Two Vikings strolling across the map. I'm thinking they probably got misrallied is what happened. Now we already have +3/+3 going down for ViperXk. That's like 18 minutes into the game. I never would have imagined. Wow. Now checking the losses, it's actually not in favor of ViperXk right now. Again, I've mentioned the strength of, if you will, mech armies. And 9 times out of 10 when it comes to TVT, I see players that go with Hellbat, tank, Viking composition come out in winning fashion because the Vikings take down the medevacs. The medevacs are basically defenseless. I wouldn't say useless altogether, but defenseless, definitely. And ViperXk is gonna, it looks like, perhaps lose some of his infrastructure right here. Maybe. And now, it looks like actually a good deal of his forces were caught up out, not really sieged up in the right position. Hellbats were not spread well enough, and it's looking like Kefir's in a bad position right now. So, I guess it was perhaps the fact that the barracks here was working in a form of a wall-off, and the Marines outrange Hellbats. That really worked in favor of him. Not to mention the DPS, the splash damage from the tanks back here. 4 SCVs kind of just symbolically standing around that command center. Yeah, it's like, we're here to defend it, and now we're back to work. Now we got a bunch of factories down here. Just adding again to the production, the infrastructure, everything else in between. And this Hellbat drop getting shut down. Bunker's going to be able to protect some of these workers, not all of them, but let's see how that goes. Okay. So far, so good. Lost a couple of workers, and that's about it. And now we actually have Kefir in a bit of a rough spot. Income-wise, yeah, kind of on even ground with his 3 base Terran opponent, but, you know, Viper is about to take his 4th, and, looks like there's going to be a bit of economic damage done here at the 3rd. I mean, especially if you can cut it off. But look at the supply difference right now. Marauders usually kind of useless against Hellbats, but it looks like the numbers are just far too much in favor of ViperXk. And with that, we see the GG from Kefir, and he leaves the game. Ladies and gentlemen, if you liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This has been Breaker. I will see you guys next time.